Aloha and welcome back to part 2 of 3 in our series of 5 best core activation exercises. In the first section, we laid down the foundation that everything now is going to be built upon. And I suppose you could just start building on hollow grounds. And chances are you can get a pretty tall building, right? But sooner or later, whatever you construct upon a weak foundation is going to crumble. And so don't worry if you haven't seen part 1. We're going to do quick little reviews of all the stuff we did in that section. But if you're unsure, if you're a little bit confused, please click on that link above. Go familiarize yourself with the fundamentals and then come back here. Because in this video, we're really going to take it up a notch. We're going to progress every single one of those exercises in the foundational series. We're going to take it up to a whole other level. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. Similarly to the first series, we're going to start by engaging the TVA. Unlike we did it the first time where we're just sliding our hands up the knees or up our legs to reach the knees, we're going to progress a little bit. Now make sure to draw your navel in, flatten it back just like last time, but this time you're going to either put your hands around your shoulders right here. This is the mild progression, right? And everything else applies. You're just going to come up this way. But ideally, what you're going to do is place your hands behind your head. Now, here comes a little trick. I don't want to see this. There's a lot of people that are just tugging on their necks, right? They're, especially as you get tired, like tendencies to really pull on the head like this. So instead, what I like you to do is point your elbows out this way, right? So now the head is pushing down into like a cradle that your hands are sort of creating. And then from there, you're gonna focus on your belly button and come up from there. So notice, the lower back's on the ground, my head's pushing down into the cradle that my hands create, the elbows are out, versus this. And so really easy progression. But this exercise, it's not the sexiest. Engaging the TVA is not the coolest thing you'll ever do, but it's the most important, so we always start with that. That's your progression. So number 1, super easy. The glute bridge in the first part was fairly simple. You just lay down, find the fingertips, and then you lift your hips up to form a straight line. If we were kangaroo, this would be a perfect move. However, humans, and now let's modify. Let's make it a little bit more human, where we're asking one glute to stabilize both hips at the same time. Let's take a look. The beginning is all the same. The setup is very similar. You're gonna lie down, you can find your fingertips, but I'll let you in a little secret. It's not as important for this particular version. So now, draw the navel in, just like last time. Lift your hips up, form that straight line from the knee to the shoulder. Now, activate the right glute and lift the left leg up. And now, vice versa. The moment the left heel touches the ground, activate the left glute, the right leg comes up. So I know it looks like I'm working on my right side, but really it's the left glute that's stabilizing everything, right? So we're just gonna, I call these marching bridges, by the way. So we're just gonna march in this bridge position for 20 repetitions. That's the whole move. What you're trying to avoid is dropping the hips. Notice that when I lift this leg up, when my left leg comes up, the hips stay the same. If you notice a little drop at first, it's normal. It's just your hips, your glutes aren't prepared yet. They're not used to this movement. But as you become proficient at it, the hips don't really move. Notice, right glute, left glute, and that's it. These are marching bridges. So for the third move, we're gonna do the hollow body once again. Now, in the previous portion, we did a really easy variation of the hollow body where you're allowed to bend both knees at the same time as you got tired or as your back arched. You're no longer allowed to do that in this part. So now let's take a look at how to progress the hollow body. The setup is similar. You lie down on your back, right? And actually, let's do this. Bend the knees first, straighten your legs. And now at this point, I want you to reach forward as far as you can with your palms up. Now, drop your legs down till they're almost at the ground, right? And now, at this position, the lower back has to be on the ground. So if you feel like you need to arch, or if you feel like you're arching, or if you feel like you need to take a little break, you only get to bring one knee in at a time. You're not allowed to do both. And so one leg goes in, and now as you recover, take a few breaths. Once you feel a little bit more recovered, straighten that leg again. When you feel fatigued or if you can't hold this position anymore, bring the right leg in, right? At no point can you have both knees in here. So one leg at a time, straighten it, work, work, work. I need to recover, bring another leg in. So that's how we're gonna modify. From this point on, this is your hollow body, and this is the only way you're allowed to make it easier. For the fourth exercise, we're gonna do a side plank again. First time around, all you had to do is lift your hips up. You could even hold down to the ground with your hand if you needed to, right, for balance. Now, let's take it up a notch. So, you're gonna be on your side, just like before. But, unlike last time, the exercise actually begins from where it ended last time. So here, look, this was the side bridge, right? So now from here, what I want you to do is lift your legs up. Just like so, we're gonna do this 10 times, right? If you can, keeping your upper arm in the air, just like this. And the idea is not to drop the hips as you're lifting your leg up. You wanna stabilize, use that side butt, your glute medius, to stabilize that hip as you raise your legs up. Obviously, you would do both sides, keeping your back nice and straight, right? And you're looking to avoid this. You keeping your hips up as high as you can, or in a neutral position, I should say, and then lifting the upper leg up. And that's how we progress the side plank. Now for the fifth exercise, just like the first time around, we're gonna do a plank. Some people in the industry believe that by holding the plank for a longer period of time, you would progress the move. However, if you really think about it, that's not accurate. If let's say you had a sprinter that runs like a 40-yard dash or a 60 or 100, right? And then all of a sudden you ask him to run a mile or 10 miles or 24 miles, right? Like you turn him into a marathon runner. You go from a sprinter into a long distance runner. And so if you just hold your plank for a longer duration, that's all it does. It actually turns you more into a marathon runner. By using that analogy, it's clear to see that it's not always advantageous to just progress by increasing the duration. Let's take a look at how we can do this differently. And so, let's say, here's your plank. And so instead of holding this position for 3 or 5 minutes, what we're gonna do is start lifting our legs up. One at a time. I'm focusing on a part where my leg meets my butt, or the ischium tuberosity. And so the idea is to do this 10 times per side, and then doing something like this, where you bring in the knees out, right? Now, the major point is not to lose the plank. Like, watch my hips. If I relax, my body's going all over the place. But I'm maintaining my plank, and I'm just making small movements with my body, but I'm still focusing on my transverse abdominis, on my obliques, on my glutes, everything to support me in a straight line. And so, instead of holding the plank for a longer duration, this is my idea of how to activate or how to progress your plank using these dynamic movements. And I would really appreciate it if after the follow along routine, which we'll get into in just a moment, if you could comment below and let me know how that made you feel. Like, did you feel more core activation? Maybe your back, was a little tighter. Maybe you're moving too much. Let me know. Share your experience with me. And now, let's get started with the actual routine. Ready, set, go. Let's engage the TVA. Remember, draw that navel in. The lower back has to be flat on the ground this whole time. Then inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. I'm doing 15 of these. Now it's time for marching bridges. Make that straight line. The moment the right heel hits the ground, the leg comes up. Activate your right glute when the left leg is out. Activate the left glute when the right leg comes out. Doing good. Time for hollow body. Full minute, here we go. Keep drawing that navel in, hollow out the front. Keep that lower back on the ground. Breathe. If it gets too tough, you know what to do. Bring that leg in. The closer you get that knee to your nose, the harder this becomes. So it's not like you're resting. And feel free to modify if you do need a little break. Don't bring that leg up as high. Go, 10 more seconds. 5 seconds. Nicely done. Time for side planks. Make sure that lower hip doesn't drop. And after 10, switch sides. Bring the arm up if it's too easy. This is called a starfish. Time to do the plank. Leg raises. We're doing 10 reps each, and afterwards, knee hikes to the side for 10 per leg. Keep your core engaged. Draw that navel in. Minimize the movement in the hips. Keep working. Almost there. Let's finish strong. All right. Now that your core is completely engaged, I recommend you try this mobility routine. Warm up your joints before engaging in one of these workouts. Have fun. I'll see you guys in part 3 of the series. This is Dan Kayser reminding you to live Pono and train with Aloha.